2 weeks ago, we unboxed and took a look at the new MacBook Neo, which seemed like a very interesting entry point into the world of Apple MacBooks. After 2 weeks of testing though, I've gathered a few insights and findings that have slightly reshaped my opinion. So let's go through them. Let's start with what most people care about, and that's raw performance. Since we've got the A18 Pro chip here, performance was a big question mark for the MacBook Neo. Thankfully, and honestly, to my own surprise, it didn't disappoint at all. In the Geekbench single-core CPU benchmark, the Neo scored an excellent 3,567 points, which is only about 4% less than last year's MacBook Air with the M4 chip, and at the same time around 52% more than the M1 MacBook Air. When we move over to multi-core performance, things aren't quite as impressive, and the mobile A18 Pro starts to show its limits. The result lands almost exactly between the M1 and M2 MacBook Air, and at around 62% of the M4 chip's performance. And yes, I'm saying only 62%, but we also have to remember that the Neo lands at roughly 60% of the Air's price. Then, the GPU performance follows a very similar pattern to the multi-core results, placing it somewhere between the M1 and M2 MacBook Air, both in the lower GPU core configurations. So overall, it's fair to say that in mixed synthetic tests, the MacBook Neo consistently lands somewhere between the M1 and M2 chips. And I can confirm these results from real-world use too. For quick, single-core tasks, the Neo felt great. Browsing the web, watching videos, writing scripts, replying to emails, transferring files. It all worked smoothly. But my somewhat idealistic impression started to fall apart once I began doing all of these things at the same time. Let's break it down. The first issue I ran into was RAM. By now, most of you probably know that the MacBook Neo comes with 8GB of RAM and only 8GB of RAM. Apple very deliberately kept this strictly an entry-level machine with no option to upgrade. So, while everyday tasks ran fine, they only stayed smooth until I started stacking them. At that point, the system began swapping to disk, and swapping itself wouldn't necessarily be a deal breaker, but the SSD in the MacBook Neo is really slow. I measured these speeds in my testing, and compared to RAM, it's honestly painful, and you can feel it. You can feel it a lot. What initially felt almost indistinguishable from my MacBook Pro suddenly turns into a device where I'm just waiting. I won't pretend I didn't expect this. I was honestly hoping it wouldn't be this bad. It was. I also tested some gaming performance with native gaming, and while you've all probably seen Cyberpunk running on this machine, I tried an older Tomb Raider, and here are my results. Honestly, I'm not sure if I expected more or less, but with slightly reduced settings, it's definitely playable. So yeah, I'd say that supported games are indeed playable. What I personally found more interesting though was video editing performance in DaVinci Resolve. I use proxies, 4K footage, some basic transitions, simple text, all on a 1080p timeline. I'd call it usable, but more as an emergency solution rather than something I'd want to rely on regularly. Basic editing was fine, and it didn't drop frames on a 1080p timeline. Of course, RAM became a limitation, and once I added more transitions, stutters started to appear. Fusion on a 1080p timeline technically works, but the preview drops frames, so forget about the heavier effects. Now that left only rendering remaining, and in my test, render from the previous video took almost 6 minutes. The biggest issue, unsurprisingly, was thermals, consistently hitting over 100°C, causing the chip to throttle to cool itself passively. I think everyone expected this. MacBook Neo is not a universal machine and it's not meant for video or rendering work, unless it's a one-time emergency. I also ran a Blackmagic raw test so you can see how it handles decoding, and here are the results. At this point, it should be clear to everyone, this is not a content creation machine. Now it might sound like I'm absolutely trashing the MacBook Neo, but don't get fooled, it's really not that bad. I'm very happy with the battery life. It handled the long standby times, survived all the benchmarks, and still had plenty of juice left to finish writing this video. Big thumbs up here. Then the display, to me, was a bit of a concern at first. It felt a bit off, and over time, I think I figured out why. I don't know if it's just me, but I feel like I noticed the display lamination more, like the panel sits deeper beneath the glass, at least to my eyes. And yeah, that's the only thing that really bothered me. Otherwise, it gets both very dim and very bright, making it usable in all conditions. Build quality, just like I said on day one, is excellent. Honestly, every manufacturer should aim for this level. That also ties into the keyboard and trackpad as well. The keyboard, even without backlighting, performed above average. It's great, excellent, whatever superlative you want to use, it applies. The lack of backlighting is a shame, but since I can touch type, it didn't really bother me. What would bother me though is the lack of Touch ID, and I have an Apple Watch so it unlocks automatically, but otherwise typing a password every time you open it would be annoying. Honestly, the trackpad was also a bit of a concern initially since it's mechanical, but it turned out to be perfectly capable and appropriate for this device. To be honest, after going back to my MacBook Pro, I couldn't stop appreciating the haptic trackpad, but you'll get used to this one just fine and it's not a real limitation. Ports might be a slight limitation since only one is high speed, but for the kind of basic work this MacBook is meant for, it's perfectly fine. You plug in a dongle and you're good to go. Just don't expect too much. And don't expect too much from the speakers either. Sure, I think they outperform a large percentage of Windows laptops, but it's not anything mind-blowing. For watching videos or movies, they're perfectly fine. I even edited one video using them. And I'll also play a quick sound test, this time without copyrighted music. This device really put me through a bunch of highs and lows, but in the end, especially at a student price, I honestly can't think of a better basic school laptop. Apple did exactly what it needed to do. They made a MacBook that's good enough to spark interest, but not good enough to replace today's Air, or definitely not a Pro. So, if you're looking for a well-built laptop with excellent battery life, something you'll carry around a lot and use for basic tasks, it's fantastic. But for anything beyond that, I can't really recommend it with clear conscience. Honestly, I think this was a great move by Apple. Let me know in the comments what you think about it. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and subscribe. Here you can check out another one, and I'll see you again next Friday. Bye!